Hi everyone, this is Hanging on Sunset. I'm here with Billy Graziadei, and we're here to talk about his next release called Leaders and Liars. That's going to be released on March 25th. Billy, tell me about Black Cow. Was that about you partying too much in the good old days?
No, actually, we all have a line that can't be crossed in any situation. And it's about battling between whether or not you should let that line be crossed or not.
Now, talking about the second song on the album, Fallen Empires, is that related to any politics or the situation we're living in the world right now?
I think all great empires fall. We are at a pivotal point in our society where there's so much infighting, and the polarization of our society has gotten to the point where there's no respect to disagree with each other, and I think that's tearing us apart from the inside out. And Fallen Empires is about my thoughts and ideas and philosophies on that subject.
The third song on the album, Leaders and Liars, it's actually the album name, and you want to give emphasis to the, again, being political. I know it's a very polemic subject, and do you think all leaders are liars?
I think all politicians are liars. The artist is the only true creative out there. Politicians, it's a well-known fact that they just will say what they want to say to get your vote. Leaders and Liars is not as negative. It's more so about focusing on the positive and trying to find the good that's out there when we're inundated with so much evil and manipulation and corruption. For ages, we've all looked at artists as saviors. Like you can escape the bullshit in the outside world by just putting a pair of headphones on and listen to that classic record that you fell in love with at 12 years old or 14 years old, because it always brings you to that place, whether it's the Beatles or Agnostic Front.
Now we have the fourth song on the album. It's called Lost Horizon. A lot of people could immediately relate to the title. Does it have to do with your personal struggles, depression that you've been through your life?
The greatest thing about being creative is that you can leave the interpretation up to the person who's experiencing your creative, energy, whether it's a piece of art on the wall or a song. Lost Horizon to me, what are your values in life? What are the things that you want to achieve and accomplish and be known for when you're no longer here? Because life goes by so fucking quick. Lost Horizon is about losing that sight and that focus and getting away from your core values and being more concerned with fighting against people who don't agree with you or worrying about how many likes you have. I think those core principles are important to remember. Number one thing for me that I think is destroying more than anything is the respect and the lack thereof.
And what do you mean when you're talking about Turn It Once in the fifth song on the album? Is that also related to the world situation, depression, or how, or do you relate that to the other song that we were just talking about, Lost Horizon? Because I can see like some connection between those two songs.
Turn the Wounds on a personal level is about struggling with depression that I've had been dealing with my whole life, and the poison that it's wreaked on all aspects of it. And overcoming it, finding a way to turn that into something more positive and breaking that cycle. On a social level, I think that I have deep wounds that we're trying to get over and trying to heal, and they're constantly being tested with left and right, and vaxxed and unvaxxed, and science and religion. Those things are very divisive, and my whole life I've never seen our society being more divided.
Sheepdog is a very strong title, at least in my point of view. But I want to ask you, who are the sheep and who are the wolves that we need to be defended by?
Somebody once asked me to choose between the thug or the cop. To be able to truly answer that, you have to be able to live in both sides of things. You know, the last record, Feed the Fire, I dealt with a lot of those dualities. I consider myself, you know, there's not just sheep and wolves. A sheepdog protects the sheep from the wolves. And I kind of look at myself that way. I've been in a lot of dark places and a lot of dark times in my life and did a lot of things that I'm not so proud of, but they made me into the person that I am today. And I'm able to be like a sheepdog in the sense that the sheepdog is what protects the sheep from the wolves, like I mentioned. So who are the sheep and who are the dogs? I think the sheep are the naive and the wolves are the conniving, manipulating individuals that are out to take advantage, but not when there's a sheepdog.
What was your big deception in life? And what does that relate to the song?
The deceptions and the disappointments go hand in hand. I'm going to just pop in the first one that popped in my head. I used to believe that this fairy tale of a world we live in that was written by a bunch of fat old men collecting money from society, it's all a fucking lie. There was a short window of calling the record The Big Deception, and I ended up going with Leaders and Liars that I think was more broad. Growing up in America, Thanksgiving, for example, there was a fairy tale that I believed and I was taught, we were all taught coming up. And we came here and did great things for the Native Americans. Not the case. Go look up Columbus's diary and see what he wrote about taking advantage of the Native Americans. So our nation, as much as I love it, was founded on a lie that was drilled into my head. I still love the country I live in, still believe the greatness that we as society kind of portray, but again, it's a big deception, and that has been going on and continues to go on throughout history.
The song Generation Kill, are we the Generation Kill, or what it is, Generation Kill?
When you look at a Monet or a Picasso painting, you don't stand next to Monet or Picasso and have them tell you what they meant by the painting. You kind of just take what you get. That aside, the description that I just gave for the previous song, Deception, with using the example of Thanksgiving, kind of relates to Generation Kill on one side. The other side of it is, are we the Generation Kill? We are living in a cancel culture. Generation Kill deals with that topic in a sense of it's hard to freely express yourself when you have to worry about Facebook canceling you or Twitter shutting you down or your peers and friends and family ridiculing you because you expressed your opinion. And that cancel culture is destructive. It's not helpful. Generation Kill deals with that.
On the song Looking Up, it gives us the idea of confidence, but also since we are talking about subjects that were very dark and heavy, with this song, are you bringing light to the album?
I think that even though there's a lot of darkness in a lot of my subjects, there's always a light that I try to shine a light on. So Looking Up for sure is more of a positive outlook. You know, it's no secret I deal with depression and those battles. Looking Up, it was inspired, ironically, we were in Brazil. My wife said to me, we were dating at the time, and she's like, you gotta look up more. When you look up, you see the whole world in front of you. And it was at a point in my life where I started to leave some of the darkness behind me and become more positive looking. My blood type is B positive, which is great. Although I'm a musician, which means I'm unemployed. So looking up in life, I think that song has to deal with that metamorphosis in my life where I started to look more for the positive in things. There's always something positive in every situation. And I look back and realize that all the negative things that I experienced brought me more down. But there was always something uplifting. There was always something positive that I found out of that. And that's kind of been an underlying theme, that survivalist, only the strong survive vibe. And it's been prominent in not just my music, but my life.
On a song, One Life to Live, are you describing how you live your life or how this current generation are living life?
One Life to Live was the first single off of Leaders and Liars. We did a great video for the song, and it captures the energy that I've always found myself attracted to, from growing up in New York to generation after generation, that I see this desire to express themselves and be themselves. And I love that. It's super attractive to me. The people that I love to surround myself with have that kind of energy. So it's a little bit of both. I think we need more of that. One life to live. Life's way too short.
On the song Our Scene, what kind of scene are you referring to?
For me, coming up, and I think that's something everyone can relate to, you have a society that I felt I was a minority in. I felt like I didn't get along with a lot of people that were into things that I wasn't into. I wasn't the kid who looked forward to that Sunday football game, and I just didn't seem to gel with the beat that the majority of society was marching to, and felt like an outcast. I found myself at a show once. I felt like myself feeling comfortable around other people suddenly, and that underground scene, the hardcore scene, the punk rock scene, the metal scene, the rock scene, there's always these attractive qualities that you suddenly feel yourself among your peers. You feel comfortable being yourself. You feel like you belong for the first time. And when you find that, you feel alive. And when I found that for me, I finally felt like I was myself, and I can express myself, and I've been there ever since. So Our Scene is about that struggle and the exploration and that discovery, finding myself and finding the scene that I feel comfortable in.
Now we get to the song called Just the Sun. Is that about when you're not able to see the sun, or just the sun can save you out of the darkness?
That's beautiful. That's it. The ebb and flow of life for me, the ups and downs, seeing the sun and searching for the sun and not being able to see the sun, they're all the same. That's a little expression. And it's also a song with my friend JENN from a project I have called Blue. There's a few songs that are from the project. So Just the Sun is about just that.
The song Enough, what have you had enough of?
How much time you got? So over the years, I've sat on the sidelines and watched friendships be torn away, destroyed for lack of respect for each other's opinions. I love the friends that I have, and I have friends from all different walks of life. The richest of riches and poorest of poor, the cleanest of clean, and the dirtiest of drug users. So I've seen so much shit be swept under the rug because people are afraid to talk to each other about certain subjects. The friendships that I have that can respectfully disagree are the strongest friendships that I have. I think that respect comes down to giving and getting, and the need and lack thereof of respect, and that's destroying us. Enough is basically just saying, you know what, I've had enough of this shit. I believe in this, you believe in that, and that's cool. I don't want to live in a fucking world where everybody thinks like I think. I don't want to live in a world where everybody likes Ride the Lightning and not Master of Puppets, or everybody likes Megadeth and not Metallica. What makes life so beautiful is the variety of different taste, different food, different music, different viewpoints. It's the respect that we need to give each other to have those freedoms.
Now we get to the song Remission. Was that the lack of the world we had through the pandemic that this is related to?
Remission for me, COVID and the isolation that we all went through was Remission, and it gave me a chance to really look at myself. It gave me us all more time. For me, the first time in my life that I didn't miss any holiday or any birthday. It's basically about that experience and that kind of like metamorphosis.
The last song of the album is called Cyanide. Can you tell us about it?
Cyanide is about an experience I've had that's very close to me. Homelessness is a plague that's wreaking havoc in not just Los Angeles, not just in New York, but the world as a whole. And about how the ripples of those experiences and homelessness and mental illness affects so many more than just the individual. The families involved. Cyanide is a poison, and love be destroyed and ripped apart and put back together again. So homelessness is a very sincere and dear subject to me. Whatever I can do to help the situation, I tried to.
Thank you, Billy. And to finish this up, what was the message from the record?
I don't write concept records. I just express myself. But at the end of every record, there always seems to be a theme. Leaders and Liars, a theme about darkness, depression that I deal with, but always finding a way to turn a dark situation into something light, into something more positive. Life is way too short to get caught up in the bullshit. In fact, I'm able to always pull myself out of the gutter. You know, when my back is against the wall, I seem to fight better when I'm the underdog. You know, being unemployed and a solo artist, living in a van, it seems I'll always find the goodness to focus on. So Leaders and Liars is more uplifting. Just look into the words.